We should remake that. I think we should remake that song at some point. Not for like permanent, but just like to remake that song.
Yeah, we can do that.
And like do like a different tempo or something.
I think that instead of actually having the theme music, we should just have us yelling it at the camera.
it's just
really
us.
intense.
It's us in different octaves, and we just record that and overlay it on each other.
Exactly.
And we're good to
That'd
go.
be perfect.
Hell yeah. Well, everybody, welcome back to the show. What we learned this week. We are here again. It's episode 55, I think we're on this week. Jake's not hungover, but I look like I got a fuckload of. I look like I got chemical burns on my face.
You look like one of the VeggieTales characters.
I look like the supervillain from Captain America.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Good.
Except I have a nose.
Yeah.
So
You're also less of a Nazi. So
Yeah.
just kidding.
a little bit.
Is the Red Skull. Fun fact: there was a dude that actually converted himself into
Red
the
Skull.
Red Mask, like
Yeah,
cutting his nose off, his
What the
ears,
fuck?
blacking his eyes out.
Seriously?
Yeah, dude, a guy really did that. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah,
no.
it's fucked up.
Pretty gnarly.
But anyways, welcome back, everybody. We're here. I'm not hungover, so it's going to be a great week for us this week. I promise you that, because we could tell from our analytics that last week was not a great week. It was just, I mean, we got a couple views, but it was nothing compared to. Let's just put it this way: we're down on our views. That's for sure. That's for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and start right off with the skills this week. I didn't. Yeah, mine failed.
Yeah.
Mine failed.
We all failed this week.
Actually, if you go on to TikTok, I don't have it up yet, but on our TikTok page, which WWLTW podcast, go check us out on TikTok. We will have my my skill, or the failure of my skill, on there. I'll be putting that up probably today or tomorrow. So it's pretty good. I got a pretty good compilation of what's going to be put on there. So
nice.
So yeah, I failed epically, and I blame you because. For those of you that don't know, Drake's birthday.
I failed, and it's his fault.
Drake's birthday is this week, tomorrow. And, well, actually, for when you guys hear this, it'll be today. So it's happy birthday.
Thanks.
I don't know. So, yeah, so thank you. So, yeah, we decided to drink, me and people at work, because it was your birthday, so we were going to come here and party afterwards. And we didn't end up doing that. But anyways, yeah, so I drank at work. I mean, I drank. Let me rephrase that. I didn't drink at work. I drank at work. Okay, yep, I drank at work. Yep. There's no saving myself on that one. So yeah, I fucked up.
Trying to reorganize the words. I drank.
I work at dranked. I drank work.
Drank worked at me.
So yeah, but yeah, good to know that you guys failed too, because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So.
To be fair, I don't even remember what mine was.
To be fair.
No, but I don't even remember what mine was, to be honest.
Sick, dude.
Yeah.
I think yours was. I don't remember.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got so caught up with some other shit this week. So
yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's okay.
No, in a
Last
good
week
way,
was
yeah.
rough, dude. Last week was fucking for me.
Trying
especially.
to do skills while you also have two screaming children at the house.
Fuck it.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, pretty
I
brutal.
mean, yeah. And Drake, you aren't $250 richer, so clearly your art didn't work out.
No. Yeah, I didn't even. No, I wanted to get a bigger canvas, and I just didn't end up going to Walmart.
I mean, it's okay.
To
It
buy the
happens. You know,
canvas.
we're lazy. It's
So,
cool. I get it.
Dude, we should just start making canvases and selling them. That
would be
easy
a bad
to do,
idea.
So
Yeah.
you ever try
There
it?
you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
why not? Fuck it up.
Get some fucking teak wood framing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
honestly,
really
super
cool.
easy.
Shit.
Teak wood.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll right into the next thing then of skills for this week. So we are signed up for Skillshare now.
Yes.
Hashtag not sponsored. So I think it would be fun for all three of us to just complete a Skillshare class.
Oh, that's great.
This
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, because I was going to
So,
do that anyway, so
yeah.
that's perfect.
Because now we all have access to it because it's the company version or whatever. So we all have access to it now. So I think we should all do one. So I think I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna go. For me, I want to learn how to color grade on videos and photos.
Yeah.
Because that's a big part of making your stuff look more cinematic or look a little bit better and less bright red faced as well. Here. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do a color grading course for mine. So
Okay.
Skillshare's got. I know you probably haven't been on that website yet or anything.
It's great.
got a lot of shit on there, like tons of stuff you can learn in basically most fields. Honestly,
Yeah,
you just search it up and there'll be something there for you.
Really?
So
Like my mom just took one on flower arranging.
yeah,
the other
No
day.
shit.
yeah. There's like hairstylist ones. There's
She used to basically
film.
do
There's
that
photo.
professionally.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy shit. So
Cool.
you guys right now, what's your classes that you're thinking? What are you gonna pick?
Well, something I need to do, it's for my business, is that
Okay.
I need to learn how to develop for databases.
Okay.
Because I can do basic shit, but I want to get really into it so that way I can make my websites really perfect. So, so I want to take a database course this weekend.
Nice.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
a database course. I like it. Okay. How about for you, Drake?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Let's find some weird shit on
Anything you want to learn? Nothing. new?
I'd like to learn how to braid so I could fucking do my hair.
Dude, you could. I swear to God, it's on Skillshare.
Oh, I
I'm
guarantee it,
not fucking
yeah.
kidding.
Hey,
It's,
man, two
it's,
little girls, I can teach you how to braid.
it's on Skillshare. Guarantee it.
Tell you what, I'm going to look up the weird shit on Skillshare. I wanna see what
And here's my thing
finds.
too. If this goes well this week, right? If we can complete this week, I think from now on we might use Skillshare as our skills for the week. So we'll just come up with some.
managing-
Yeah, so we'll come up with one every week, and that's what we'll do.
See, that's a great idea because we can also
Okay.
validate what classes that we actually
Exactly.
did, too.
We have
Yeah.
proof that we
Yeah.
did our skill. And let's be honest, we've probably reused skills on the show so far. We've run out of ideas for skills, and this is a perfect way. You literally could just go on there and browse and find one and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the next week.
Okay.
So it's perfect, and it's easy for us to validate that we actually did that thing.
Yeah.
And we're actually learning something a lot out of it because these are actual class. They're like the one course that I was looking at for the color grading for this week. It's 51 minutes. That's all it is. It's split into like 16 videos, short videos. They're super intuitive, like easy to use and intuitive, and it's like a step-by-step guide basically to learn anything. So I think that's, if it goes well this week, I think that's what maybe we'll try that out from now on.
Cool.
There are Skillshare classes as to how to create a Skillshare class.
Oh,
Boom.
nice.
There you go.
Skillshare classes
Easy.
as to how to be the perfect chopping chef. Like you
Ooh.
can chop peppers and
See, you
shit.
could do something chef related
One in
because
front,
you want to.
How to roast
behind.
coffee, how to do illustrations, how to learn. You can learn Italian.
Hey.
Let's see here.
What are you gonna do, Drake? Come on now. You just pick a skill. I bet it's on there.
You can discover your sole purpose.
You discuss.
That seems pretty intense. I think
Yeah,
I'm
that's
choosing
a
that one.
really.
Might change mine to that one. I'm just
I'm
kidding.
moving to Antarctica.
You can learn to make dresses.
Oh,
I'll climb Machu Picchu and learn about myself.
smoke grass in the top of the
Go where,
mountain.
go where God will not follow. If you find him
So,
there, then
what-
Rise with the sun as it reaches over the peaks of the clouds.
you guys remember that from Velocipaster?
Yep.
Go where God will not follow.
China.
China.
I mean, they've got killer hornets, so yeah. They're
Well, now we do too.
Yeah, fuck it.
Can we talk about killer hornets
Alright,
for a second?
well, hold on. First, he needs to pick a skill.
I'm gonna have to look at the roster.
I know I'm putting you on the spot. here,
Literally,
but
Well, I wish I had a
pick-
better understanding.
there's anything.
Yeah, you'll
Think
find
of
out.
Okay, I wanna
anything.
see if I can play around and learn how to actually create like a nagel.
Yeah, I'm sure you
There
can do
you
that.
go.
Like
I'm
what
Nagel art.
what style
Yeah.
of art you'd have to go through, or what components you'd have to use
Boom.
to
How do
create.
you
There you
spell
go.
that? Is it
Negal.
okay? So it's like Kegel, but with an N.
Yeah,
All right.
because there's tons of really cool ones.
Yeah, you can.
There's all kinds of
You
shit
can
on
learn
there.
like that. Like
Fucking
duotones
sweet.
right
Sweet.
there.
There you go.
Fucking sweet. There we go.
So we've all
perfect.
got our skills for this week. That's super easy. We can all validate each other on
Yep.
them.
Yep.
We can post pictures on it. It's a new world, folks. What we learned this week is changed.
We're getting legit.
We're getting legit. We're getting chairs. Oh my God, we're finally getting for
Our
those of you-
tailbones are saved.
For those of you that don't know,
I don't have a butt.
yeah,
so
our chairs
Yeah.
that we currently use, they're not comfortable.
Like, I have
I'm sitting on, yeah, I'm literally
that's actually
sitting.
his ass making that sound.
Yeah.
So
I'm sitting on a
Just
pillow
flexing.
right now
It's my
because
tailbone hitting the bottom.
yeah, I'm sitting on a pillow right now because it's just like these are not comfortable chairs at all. So
Yeah.
we finally, thanks to our Patreon supporters and you that bought our Teespring merchandise, we're finally able to purchase our own real nice, like they're almost like the gaming style chairs. So
Yeah.
you guys just saved our asses.
yeah, literally.
See,
Nice.
Walker's got jokes.
I like the way that you think. We're back in full force this week, folks. Man. So yeah, that's another big thing that we're super excited about as well. So thank you for our Patreon members and our Teespring people.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't, just know you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/WWLTW podcast. You can go to Teespring and get mugs with a mugs on it right here. This is what that is. That'll be in the link in the description
These are
below
some
as
nice
well.
ones.
I know, right?
I like these.
Yeah, it's all right. That's really close in because that's a zoomed in photo.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool. You can
a
see how good
blurred
Katie did with the logos.
Yeah. Go to Astro Design Company.
Yes. Yeah. Visit us at astrodesigncompany.com. Get a website. Talk to us about building up a website for you. We are working with all sorts of companies all across the Midwest. We'd love to chat with you. So
Yes, do it. And check out Skillshare too. We're not hashtag not sponsored yet.
But go fucking
But
check
But
it
they're
out.
check
just
them
an
out.
awesome company.
Yeah, it's
so.
it's super user friendly. You literally type in something in the search box of what you want to learn. There's hundreds of results for it. Click on one that you like, and you can literally just sit there and watch it. And they go step by step. They'll tell you the programs they're using for stuff that, like for me, for color grading. They'll tell me exactly the programs they're using, and they'll actually tell you to download them, and then they'll, so for the one I'm doing is you take a picture, and they tell you what kind of picture to take, with a certain amount of contrast and shadowing, and then you literally work with the person on this app, basically, and you create with them.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's pretty
so
awesome.
It's super cool.
That's really
So, yeah,
cool.
go check them out as well. Johnny Wishbone on YouTube. Go check him out for all your big machinery, tractory needs.
Love that guy.
Love that guy. What a guy.
What a guy.
What a fucking guy. Who else? What else are we supposed
Thirst.
to... Thirst.
Thirst
Shout out
He
to
doesn't
Thirst
have any.
Homeless.
He doesn't have any videos yet, but yeah, shout out
Doesn't
to
he?
Thirst Homeless. Well, he does.
He's got a
but-
bunch of videos.
No, he doesn't have a bunch.
I'm pretty sure he does.
No, Thirst doesn't. Thirst went off. He wants to make a bunch, but he's paused.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, check him out too. He's awesome. Thirst Homeless. What a dude on YouTube.
Quality.
I think that's it for my shameless plugs.
Dude, Thirst almost has 41 videos.
Shut up.
Yeah.
He didn't have those last time I looked.
Look at all that. Look at
All right,
that
I
shit.
lied. Thirst Homeless has a fuckload of videos. My bad. I didn't think he did. But yeah, that's it for my shameless plugs. So
Dude.
we're good. The week has
All right.
begun. We're here.
Now we can store it.
Now it is. We can start the show.
Store it with an
All
O.
right. So I'm gonna start. You ready? All right. This is my topic for the week.
Let's do it.
All right. You ready? I want to know your guys' biggest influences in a couple different categories, though. So I want to know who is your biggest influence. What's the most influential book you've ever read? I'll start with that. That's an easy
Ooh,
one.
influential book. Honestly, I love Brave New World. That's one of my favorite books of
Brave
all
New
time.
World?
Yeah,
Okay.
you guys ever read that one?
I have not.
Aldous Huxley. Basically, it's like this futuristic world, right? And of course, this is written by somebody that back in the 50s, but it's about what modern day society is supposed to be like,
Right.
and it just shows all the cracks in society as to where things need to be more human rather than technological. And so it really kind of makes you self-aware as where you're spending so much time, or
It's nice when a
obsessing over
book can
technology.
transcend through history, no matter
Yeah.
how long ago
Oh,
it was
yeah.
written, and it can still play a part in today's world.
Exactly. Yeah. So it really it basically puts somebody that's tribal
Yeah.
as a normal person, and throws them into a overly technological world and shows where that person can't fit in. So
Nice.
it's really
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, that is
I
really
like that.
interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
I'll have to check that one out. How about you, Drake?
We actually have it on the coffee table. It is the World of Philosophy, or it was the
The War of Philosophy.
The War of Philosophy, and hands down, one of the most eye-opening for me, at least personally, because that was something I struggled with for a really long time. Was philosophy in general, and
Right.
even ideology in general, why people become so attached to things and why people think the way that they do and everything else. And it gave me the proper understanding and perspective to kind of broaden that horizon and not look so narrowly on people or people's decisions or beliefs and everything else.
Right.
It opened that Pandora's proverbial box.
All right.
You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I'd say for me, I gotta go, and I know a lot of people are. He's kind of caught a bad rep lately because some people see him as a entrepreneur, and that's fine. To each their own. But the book was very what was. It put a lot of things into perspective for me. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and
okay.
a lot of guys he's a big real estate mogul kind of guy, salesman kind of guy. But the book was really played a big part on how I viewed entrepreneurship and other successful people.
Is he listed as kind of a entrepreneur? I didn't realize.
He wasn't, but I think he caught a lot of flack. He did a podcast episode with Jordan Belfort, the real Jordan Belfort,
Yeah.
like the Wolf of Wall Street guy, for those of you that don't know. So he did a podcast with him, and I mean, Jordan, ethically, not the greatest person in the world, obviously. Like, guy did a lot of shady shit, right? But as a salesman, he's the smartest in probably the game about salesmanship. I mean, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to doing sales. And he kind of humbled Grant Cardone on the podcast, and like Grant kind of walked into the lion's den not knowing it, and he showed how weak Grant, like it kind of proved that there's no way Grant is the mastermind behind his company. Right. There's got to be other minds behind it, and he's kind of like the figurehead for it, you know, because he just the philosophies that he was holding and the practices that he was using for salesmanship, or that he thought would work for salesmanship. Jordan Belfort like refuted all of them, like
no shit,
broke him down basically. So it kind of ruined his credibility. And then I've also been watching stuff lately on like. There's a couple guys on YouTube that literally expose these entrepreneur people and like breaks them down. They'll even go to like their
Crunchbase page or something.
No, they'll go to their what do you call it? Like their venues or their events. They'll go to like these free events and like I mean, they just really fucking show the shady shit that goes down in these. So yeah, he's kind of caught some flack from that too. But his book 10X Rule, like seriously read that book because it really just changes your mindset on the it goes into the like poor me, like why you can't be a poor me person in order to be successful. Like you can't. It just doesn't work. It's not compatible with being a successful person in the world. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like the one analogy. I'll get off this topic soon, but the one analogy he uses is like he used to live on this street. And there was, you know, a couple potholes that had formed in the street. And his neighbor at the time, he had some very successful neighbors that, you know, lived around him. But he had one that was, and he didn't say names, obviously, but that was clearly higher up on the pedestal than anybody else in that neighborhood. Yeah. And his other neighbor said, oh, well, he should be putting money into us, you know, into repairing these roads. Right. And Grant put into the mindset of, okay, but we all drive the same road. Why does he have to pay more to repair it? Just because he has more money. Yeah. That shouldn't play a part into it. It should be even playing ground because we're using the same road. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. Like where you mutually invested. Right. So it's like stuff like that where he plays into these analogies and you're like, holy shit. Like, or, you know, he also shows how the middle class is actually the most unstable level in the economy to be at when the economy crashes. Like, because there's certain, you know, stuff that protects poor people during economic crashes and economic declines, and stuff that they can fall back on. For the rich, they're not, you know, they're affected, but they're not overly, they're not poor. The middle class is the only one that can really lower a level for themselves, or can go lower on the totem pole, basically. So yeah, it's an interesting book. I like it a lot. Definitely, for sure. So all right, so we went through influential books. Here's another interesting one. I'm interested to see what you guys say on this. Most, I would say, your influence. How do I word this? Your spiritual influence, like a person, a spiritual person to you, or somebody who has, you know, maybe religious beliefs or whatever, but the person to you that you look up to, you pull influence from. That's a
hard one.
That is a really tough one.
Mine's all about like influential or like influences on you.
Is this like non-family related?
It could be anything. It could be literally anybody. It could be family. It could be famous people. It could be anybody.
I'm gonna go with my dad.
Your dad?
Yeah, okay. My dad. He's always had this nice. How do I put this? Like really hardworking and really like genuine attitude. Where it's like he's always gonna be straight up with you, but he knows how to like convey his thoughts and feelings about something without like getting pissed off. Like regular parents can get. Right. So it's like he could sit there and discuss something with you.
So on a spiritual aspect, like not religious. But I didn't want to say religious because that kind of narrows the horizon. So right. Okay. So spiritual aspect.
So then, okay. So yeah, I'm kind of getting to that point too. But like, he's always the one that kind of keeps like an open mind when it comes to like new ideas. Right. So kind of getting into that. So like when it comes to religion, he doesn't like dismiss other people's ideas. He just kind of like he understands what they think and why they think it, but then he's got his own mindset that he still like sticks to. So like
Interesting.
he's
Okay,
he's very open about people's beliefs.
To other people. He's not pushing his own on other people. He has his, and other people
because there's
have
no
theirs.
shame in having your own belief system, but he knows like other people might not believe this. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick with him.
I like that. I like that. Drake, what about for you, man?
It's really kicking me in the dick that I can't remember his name. I am looking the name up right now.
You want me to do mine?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Russell Brand.
That literally.
Really?
That's
mine.
He does have a very open,
and I think it's
mindset.
because of the same exact reason.
Yeah.
I think it's because he has such an open mindset on, and I think a big telling thing for me about like how open he is he did like a thing with Logan Paul right after everything blew up, all that shit blew up, and like the way he explained it, because he made a video and said how I really feel about Logan Paul after doing these podcasts with him. And he like really put it into perspective of not judging his character like everybody else did during that time. You know what I mean? Like, and this was right after all this shit went down.
Was that right after the Japanese thing?
Yeah.
He's in Japan.
And he really pulled himself away from that and judged his character based on what he experienced rather than what other people are saying. So it was kind of an interesting take on that as well. But he's just an all-around, like, super open person. I've watched, not documentaries, but podcasts where he's done, like, he was part of, like, a sobriety circle for one show. Like, it was this little tiny podcast, or, like, YouTube channel. Not tiny, but smaller YouTube channel. And they had, people that had addictions sitting at a table. And Russell Brand, like, just came in and was like, yeah, I'd love to be a part of this and sit in on it and then, like, help these people. So it's kind of cool that he's willing to just, like, that's what he's all about. He's all about, like, expanding others' minds and looking at it from that different point of view that most don't look at.
Yeah. I love his perspective on getting to know people before judging them.
Yeah.
Like, he's very, like he'll even say, like, I don't know enough about the subject to really discuss it.
He's open enough to be able to say that.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
awesome.
And I just respect that more than... There's a lot of people out there that can just crack jokes about something that they don't understand because, that's a cool thing to do. But, like, he really is like, listen, I don't know shit about the subject. I'm not gonna talk shit about it. So
is that who you were?
That's literally because I knew Brand, but I was like, I for some fucking reason I couldn't remember his first name.
And he's a great actor. He's funny. He's a good actor. I like him in that too. But
yeah, get on the podcast, Russell Brand.
Yeah, Russell Brand, we're here, man. Come hit us
I know you're probably watching.
I know you got a podcast now too, but let's go.
Yeah, like I agree with that 110%. Like he's definitely spiritually and with openness. So that was definitely one of the biggest influences. But I'll mix that up then. I won't pick Russell Brand.
You can pick Russell Brand. It's okay to have the same ones.
Well, I'll do along that same line, not necessarily on like the spiritual branch, but like one of the most impactful people.
Impactful in general?
Well, like in perspective of like my life and my direction and everything. So could easily say dad.
Yeah, you
like,
could always say
mom,
parents.
Or,
Yep.
Because like they a lot of that sculpting, was done by them, initially. But the one person that I really reflected on and almost idolized for a little bit, but then kind of once I understood more, hence the book, like kind of broaden that horizon and that like fixating on someone, trying to replicate that isn't what you should do. Henry Rollins, like that was the dude for me. Like that a lot of his public speaking and a lot of his perspectives of like when he tells stories, like he's so involved and he's so articulate when it comes to the exact detail and like the way that he goes about everything. Like even when he was in the band, like he's so meticulous, he's so intense, it's almost on like a hostile manner, you know, like he has every.
Do you think it's just the passion that he has that makes him appear hostile in the way that he presents certain things? Or
I don't think it's in the presentation. I think it's in the mentality of the individual. I think he in general is just hostile.
Okay.
And it's not in that direct aggressive manner that you would think initially.
Not how he means it to come across, while others may take it that way.
Right. And I can't really speak for that, but at the same time, I think in a way that seemed like it propels him, like kind of like, okay, fuck you, even before he can tell me that I can't do something, I'm going to fucking do it.
Right. Right.
Like that intense of a, that intense of a mentality. And I've always gravitated towards that, and I really respect him.
Nice.
Just for everything that he's done, like
I'll take that.
Even now. I mean, I saw him on a fucking comedy thing. Like he was talking about a story about him doing acid.
Why not?
And like,
Fuck
yeah,
it.
there's like this crazy fucking Euro trip, but just the
Oh,
way
yeah.
that he was talking, it's like, yeah, dude, that's fucking intense. It's
Hell
fucking
yeah.
crazy.
I love it. I had a couple other ones, but I'm looking at our time and I hijacked most of it. So I want to get to your
you're good,
guys'
dude.
topics too.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the other ones on our live episode
just
today.
flow with
So
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
well
Yeah, do
I'll
whatever.
ask those. Don't forget to check out our live episodes every Monday as well. Sorry, shameless plug. Who wants to go next? Who's got the next one here? What do you got?
Okay, so I got one.
All right, let's hear it.
So I think I was reading an article the other day that it was interesting and it was really empowering. Sudan right now.
Saddam Hussein.
No, just Sudan, like the
Oh,
country.
Sudan.
Sudan, sorry.
Sudan.
Sudan.
I thought you said Sudan.
Oh no.
Sudan.
So they.
We were like, what about him?
Did he read? He's back. Welcome to level 5 of Jumanji.
Kung Fury 2.
We bring them all back.
too.
Hitler, Saddam, they're all back.
Oh, goddamn.
But they just recently outlawed, outright outlawed female genitalia mutilation.
Finally.
Finally.
It's 2020.
So,
I'm just saying.
obviously in that contrast, I was like, oh, that's fucking super cool. Like
Yeah.
that is awesome that they finally reached that point and that women don't have to be terrified, of giving birth to another woman to have them being mutilated as they
Yeah.
were. And
Right.
after reading that and like having that thought, because I locked that thought in, is like, that's fucking super sweet. Like they're all liberated,
Right,
in
for
a
sure.
sense. They're progressing towards a more a cultivated culture.
Right.
And I was thinking about that. I was like, what are your guys' perspectives on cultural progression? So like things like that, like
Yeah.
for that as an example. So we have a lot of luxuries here.
Yeah.
You kind of even with male genitalia, like you kind of have this pick or
Well,
choose,
you
like
still have-
circumcised, non-circumcised,
And
all
there's
that
even
stuff.
a heated debate on that nowadays. too.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna actually, because I feel like I've hijacked some of these answers, I'm gonna actually let you answer this first and see
Yeah,
what,
yeah, sure
what
thing.
your
So like
thought is on
when
it.
you ask this question about like cultural progress,
Yeah.
what do you mean by the
So
question?
I want to know what you think is an acceptable level of progression as like, okay, say our lifetimes. So 25, 26 years. Do you think that them hitting that now, that other places culturally are kind of, do you feel that they're still kind of in a more primitive perspective? Do you think that it's
Oh yeah,
becoming that the world's going to open up more and become more progressive, or do you think that's just a fucking it's ridiculous that it's taken that long?
I do think that things could progress faster.
Yeah.
Like that's always the goal for people. It's like they want things to progress a lot faster when it comes
sure.
to cultural stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like any amount of progress is still progress to a certain degree. And if even if this happens in the next 5 or 10 years where they just enacted that law, it's still progress. It's still a next step towards something better.
Yeah.
And I think that overall, it's better to have that now than to not have it at all. So, yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I
sentiment,
like that.
Definitely.
Because you never know how other countries are going to treat stuff like that compared
For
to
sure.
the luxury that we have here in the United States. I mean, Sudan's been under war for the past 30 years, just about. So,
Oh, yeah.
just the fact that they are getting to the point where they can make or have conversations like that is huge. So,
Yeah.
I think that's something big.
I think I agree with you on that. I think that progress is progress. I mean, no matter how long it takes. But I also think it's easy for us, here to be able to say, well, fuck, it took you long enough. Like, we don't do that kind of stuff here anymore.
Right.
But it's just a different mindset. It's like being, it's like being born in a first world country and then like looking at people born in a third world country and being like, oh, you don't have like shoes yet. Like that kind of mentality
Right,
almost where
yeah.
you can't physically put your mindset into that culture unless you had like assimilated with it at some
No,
point.
most
You know what I mean?
definitely.
So you don't know. You can't. It's easy for us to judge them and condemn them for just now doing it, not being there, not being a part of that culture.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Looking from the outside in is always a lot
Exactly.
easier than the other way around.
And
Yeah,
I mean, I think kudos to them. They've done it, and I think we're definitely in a time now in the past 3 years at least where you're seeing a big cultural shift, international or like worldwide.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not we're becoming more like one almost. It's a weird way to say it. Like it seems like we're so divided in the world right now.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, if you look at it, like we're defining as Earth, we're defining the rights and wrongs.
Yeah.
Like we're kind of enacting this as like we're holding other countries accountable for their actions to a stand. Like we're no longer being okay. That's them. They're behind closed doors. Whatever they do in their country, they can do. It's now like, hey, this is clearly very wrong what you're doing, and now we have to hold you accountable. It's what the UN was created to do. It's to hold other countries accountable.
To kind of centralize that normality there.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not saying that everything that the United States does is morally correct. I'm not saying that everything no country has it spot on. Right. You know what I mean? But we know what's morally right, what's morally wrong.
We know
we're holding these countries accountable. These countries are and the people of these countries are holding each other accountable. I mean, with the phase-in of the internet and with there being so much access to information now, these other countries are seeing what life could be like or what life is like for, different countries of different standards. And they're like, oh, well, I think we should implement that part, but maybe not take that part. Or, maybe what they're doing is wrong. So, but we've been doing that too. So, but looking from the outside in, it looks weird. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe we should change our ways because that looks kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
So I think it's just as species as a whole is kind of evolving to a point where you're seeing mass change in countries that have for the most part been stagnant. Especially in the Middle East.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say stagnant. I would just say rebuilding at that point because they, like I said before, they've been under stress for
I mean,
decades.
It's hard to. They
kind of have to get to the point of. I don't know.
You need some sort of stability
almost.
before you can.
You need a foundation before you can really start growing something.
Right.
So they're just rebuilding their foundation before they can start making those social steps.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to see progress. I think still going back to that.
Because that was the reason why I wanted to bring it up and why I wanted to get your guys' perspective on it is because initially when I was reading through the article, the first thing that popped into my head is like that kind of third-partied, completely disassociated perspective of like, oh wow, like really now you've decided to not do this? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Because you hear all kinds of stuff, especially with like Middle Eastern stuff. It's almost on the lines of barbarism. Like you hear these mentalities and you hear what they just on some of the cultural standards that were in place, or that we've come to be exposed to, whether it be through social media or the news or what the fuck ever, they paint a very specific picture. And I noticed after reading that article, making that call, like personally, like making that call, like, wow, that's like cool, but like, why did it fucking take you so long? Like, that's fucked up.
Right.
So,
and then continued on. And then later on that day, I was kind of like thinking about it. And that was the realization that I'd had. It's like, why was I okay with just making that judgment call of them that culturally, because every culture has its ups and its downs, but like, why, when I have zero context to the struggles, exactly, like what cultural standards there are, what kind of implications, or like how everybody holds each other accountable in that culture or community basis, like how am I on any level able to make a judgment call? Even on a personal level, with zero context. I don't know anyone that's ever lived in there.
Right.
Anyone that's ever brought back and told me personal stories, or I've never really seen pictures. I don't have any context outside of conflict.
Right.
Which adds to that barbaric perspective.
So here's the real question then. Do you think Sudan has enough worldly influence to cause other countries in similar situations to change their ways?
What do you mean by influence, though?
Because, you have certain countries where they almost set the principle for countries alike. So you have China. They're going to set the principle for most communist or semi-communist countries, right? They're setting the standard almost, right? You have the United States. We are supposed to be setting the example of a pure democracy, or, not pure, but a democracy and how things should be run, right? In the Middle East, who is your, in any of those countries over there, who's your influence, your big influences where you're pulling principle from? Or are they all too segregated away?
Who's like your political stencil?
Exactly, like who can you stencil yourself after? I guess if you were to go Saudi Arabia, that would be a big one to pull influence from for most of its surrounding countries.
Yeah.
But as far as like Sudan, do they have enough in that aspect, social or worldly influence, in order to cause change in other countries similar to it? Or are they just a small pawn? They've done it. Kudos to them. But other countries around or surrounding don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Or other countries in similar situations don't give a fuck.
I feel like at least from what history has told us about the specific areas,
Right.
they tend to be very segregated.
Mm-hmm.
Even though
I
they're
agree.
close knit, even on the religious markers, very close knit, pretty much the same playing field across the board. It almost seems like a tribe to tribe basis where the simple fact that you're from a different area, we don't want to be like you. You're not us.
Right.
So at least that's the perspective that's portrayed that I've seen so far through events that have happened and everything else, or like the little bits and pieces of research that I've done for that area.
Do you think, not to cut you off,
No.
but I'm just like thinking now, do you think that there could be almost like a Pavlov's dog situation where they've done something good? You know, obviously this has been breaking news now. This has been, every major news network is reporting on it, and it's showing Sudan in a good light, right?
Right.
So, let's say, I don't know, trade embargoes for countries, easing up. Say Sudan had like major trading embargoes, with countries, major powers, and they say, "Oh, Sudan, you know what? Kudos to you for that. Like, I think we're going to ease up a little bit on you or something."
Right.
You know what I mean? Or helping that country in some way, or even just putting them in a good light for that moment, and praising them for doing this.
Yeah.
Does it make other countries think, oh, can we,
Well,
maybe we could do that?
I
But, I mean,
hope
most
so.
countries don't think, I mean,
they don't give a fuck.
they don't give a
about-
shit, obviously.
Yeah,
They are,
right.
and that this is speaking from on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's easy for us to say something like that, but I wonder if that situation could be created where it's like you give them the praise for doing stuff like that.
Right, that positive
Does
reinforcement.
it cause
Right.
other countries to go, oh, wait a second?
For that topic
life could-
specifically, about like
Yeah.
gendered roles, I guess. I think that would be really fucking cool if that kind of progressed in that light to where that positive reinforcement on a worldwide
Right.
standard to like show like, okay, you guys are doing a good thing, like keep it up, like good job, you're making good steps. You'd hope that would inspire other countries or other regions to like follow suit, like, okay, well, we want to be good too.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Wait a second.
Like pat our head.
Yeah,
know?
but we know that that's not how world
No.
leaders work. you
No,
know.
and at its core, it's more individualistic. It's very communal based.
Yeah.
So they're not really taking a lot of influence, or it seems like they're not taking a lot of influence from other regional standards. They're just going to work off their own shit, and whatever works for them, or that individual that's running everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
And a lot of people see it as they see it as a religious connection too.
Yeah.
So you've got to think that it's doing stuff like that for some of these other countries that are
Yeah.
far more religiously backed in their government. I don't know what within their laws of the land,
Yeah.
right? It's a lot of that is religiously backed. So, it could also be that aspect where like, well, we can't go back on that because otherwise we're basically going back on our own religion.
no, most
So
definitely.
I could see that too, where they
And-
go, well, fuck you, we
Yeah,
can't
there
do
could be
that.
some backlash there.
Exactly,
Like that,
yeah.
So.
And I think that's a standard that's held much higher in that region of the world, or like that part of the world. That religion is the staple.
Yeah.
Like that is the foundation. That is the tradition. That is the cultural epicenter of a lot of those
Of
places.
their decisions in life and how they
Yeah.
live their life. Yeah.
And how they hold people accountable as well. And that I think can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. It can jade people, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think it just puts blinders on people's lives.
Exactly.
Honestly,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not a very super overly religious person, obviously, so
Right.
that's from my viewpoint. But I just think that like when a country lets religion play too heavily into its laws, I think that you're basically putting the blinders onto progression. In my opinion.
Well, that's the whole
Right.
reason behind the concept of the separation of
So you're
church and
funneling.
state.
Yeah.
Because people need to progress, but you can't always progress by the terms that are set out in your religious.
Exactly.
No, most definitely.
Because at some point, through
gonna be
progression, you're going to
conflict.
contradict yourself.
Yep.
It has to happen. So
I have a question for you guys.
All right,
I'm
let's
trying
hear it.
to find a way to word this, but so we have the United Nations,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So you guys know the function of the United Nations, like as a whole, basically just like
they're basically the peacekeepers of the world.
for the most part, yeah. So
Well,
my question,
all of the those
Yeah.
nations
Yeah.
involved are supposed to be. Yes.
it's supposed to be like a centralized, not necessarily
Government,
like
but
a government, but it's
almost.
like it's almost like a conference of these nations, right?
Meeting of the minds.
Meaning in the mind.
Do you guys think there should be like a program built from the United Nations that kind of has like a
Incentive.
almost like an international, like I don't want to call it a tax, but like an international tax system almost, where we have like a fund that helps out other countries that comes from our federal taxes.
So like a relief.
So let's say that
So
we built,
every
like, a
so
centralized
you're saying
fund.
like every nation involved would
Yeah.
then have a tax on them, a federal tax.
Yeah, let's say like an international tax, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that way we all basically pool funds together to help out other countries that are in need and bring them up to speed where
Yeah.
we are.
So a global
and
stipend.
Yeah, pretty much.
I agree with that to
A certain degree.
a degree.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like I'm hijacking this
No,
conversation.
you're
no,
good.
no, dude. This is the
I-
point of
I'm asking you guys-
conversation.
I'm
but
asking your guys'
I
input,
think
so.
that nobody's perfect. I get
Yeah.
that. And sometimes money can be put what we think is going into the right hands into the wrong hands.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, look at the creation of ISIS. ISIS was created through through United States government funding.
Right.
That's how it was created. I
Well,
mean,
that's like- I mean,
there's valid
We
pro-
could go on for
yeah,
a long
there's-
time about this.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Most of these militias and everything that are created from other government
Yeah.
funding. That's
Right.
how it happens.
Backhanded
yeah.
funding
I
that
mean,
gets funneled down
ISIS,
and-
ISIS warriors were originally supposed to be like Operation Iraqi Freedom. Like they were supposed to be part of that military
Right,
that
right.
kind of helped our military
Yeah.
phase out. And then now, we've got all this money and guns. No, we're running it now.
Yeah.
Like, this is ours now.
And that's
So
the
it's like-
exact fucking pattern with the Taliban as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that. So, do I think that we should be able to help third world countries in need to bring up a standard? Should everyone have access to water? Fuck yes. Should everyone have access? At this point, I think even talking about basic human rights, I think we're now at a level where the internet needs to be a basic human right.
Yeah,
I
think so.
Yeah.
we're living in a technological age, and it's. I mean,
we have to be able to bring up other people, like bring them up to
yeah,
speed.
and I'm not
Yeah.
saying like you need it to live, but you need it to progress.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, it's water, shelter, food, and the internet. Those are
Yeah.
the 4 basic human rights at this point of where we're at. So yeah, should we be helping to put up towers in different countries and everything like that? Yeah, I 100% agree with that. As long as that money's being carefully monitored
Yeah.
by a neutral party,
Yep.
which is the UN, and it's not being used. It's just so tricky.
It
how
is
do
a
you,
fine
how do you
line
not
that-
use it to
Well,
to
so-
persuade favorites and to
Yeah.
it's like you have to be neutral in
Well,
your
if you
decisions.
side
I
with
think
us on
that's
this,
kind of the nice thing about having the UN or like having some sort of centralized group managing the
checks and
Yeah.
balances.
Yeah, exactly. You have other people monitoring. Okay, I don't agree with this, then this is
Right.
why, and like
Yeah.
we're all going to vote on this individually
That's
as
true.
countries,
Yeah.
and then having that representation based on whatever.
Yeah, that open. I think the greatest thing that we could possibly do to enact that is the open-faced voting. I think that was one of the
to
best
see where
thing.
each party or where
Yes.
each country lies and
Yes.
everything like
Yep.
that, and making it known
in
to where
an
they lie.
open discussion-based
Yeah.
congression.
I agree with
Because
that.
like that, you shouldn't
Be able to hide behind
hide.
closed doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should not be amicable on any level if
Yeah.
you're participating in that union.
Exactly.
It shouldn't.
I mean, in a perfect world,
In a perfect world, yeah.
perfect world, it would come down to,
I say
you-
yes.
Right. So, well, here's the thing. In a perfect world in the UN, right, this is how I would see it going, right?
Mhm.
So you have, let's say, 180 countries that are in the UN, right?
Right.
So they come up with this global stipend, and they say, okay, hey, here's the countries that we think need this the most, and here's where we think we should allocate it. In a perfect world, each country should go back, or each representative of their country should go back to their country, and there should be a vote on that within the country,
Yeah.
and then sent with the representative. The representative shouldn't be the one voting.
No.
It should be the country voting, and the representative's just the placeholder to say this is how we vote.
Yeah.
This is where our country lies on this issue, because that's the problem with the UN is it's not. They're not the voice of their country.
Right.
They're the voice of their party within their country in which they are favored.
Yeah.
It's still politically. It's you're going back to like people can be bought out by banks. People can be bought out by oil. People,
Right.
it's a greed-filled, world. That's obviously what it is. So these people aren't really necessarily representing what their country believes in. They're representing what
best
was
interests.
voted into office at that
fair.
time.
That is
You know
fair.
what I mean? So in a perfect world, it should be sent back to the countries. All 180 should be sent back. They vote on it. And then the next time they come around, they go, okay, this is where my country lies. This is how we favored that position.
Yep.
Just like an election.
Yep.
It should be the favored wins. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, that's not how it goes.
Well, what if instead of like a tax and a stipend, what if it was like a resource share? Like where, okay, so...
like a tax levy or tax...
So imagine that it's not even money. Like imagine that it's like we're sharing
Water.
technological resources, or we're sharing food and water to certain countries like that. And like,
almost a donation of sorts.
We have like a what should I put it? Like a quota basically that you have to hit every year. All right, so you have this many people in your population. You can utilize this to fund, I don't know, like food or water for these other countries that need it or something.
Yeah, so it would be along the lines of like a resource tax. Then.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
you would have to throw into the global pot, depending on how much agricultural standard you have as a nation,
Right.
And then your population.
and then
density.
do you incentivize those countries based upon hitting certain marks?
Yeah,
So like,
that would
be smart.
Because now you're
You get a gold star if you
people
donate
want
this much.
people want incentive for what they're
We
giving.
won't
right?
bomb you.
So let's say a country goes over, above and beyond its incentive base. You have this this baseline incentive that these countries involved with the UN need to hit, right?
Yeah.
And that could be based on GDP. It could be that could be based on GDP. That could be based on overall population. Whatever you're basing it off of to where that country is economically, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you're gonna have China, Germany, the United States. Those are all going to be held to a little bit higher standard than, say,
Madagascar.
these smaller countries that still want to help, but they just don't have the GDP or the population to help as much, right? So let's say you have this baseline for certain brackets of economies, right?
Yeah.
If you hit that guy, or if you hit that line, and let's say you go above and beyond, say there's an incentive to you now. Okay, I don't know, like a lowered tax on certain imports or something like that, something along the lines. So, but then again, you're now creating a universal government that's creating tax levies and creating embargoes and stuff like that. So it's tricky there too. But it's like
how do you
what
manage
kind of
that?
Incentive do you use to give these countries to go above and beyond on that?
Right.
Yeah, to actually help their fellow man.
Right. Or do you hold? Well, that'd be tough too. But like, because then you're going like into trading. But I was gonna say, like, let's say China says, hey, say Japan or something they kind of need some help with, they need some ease up on the taxes for importing of phones, right? Because they're a big phone importer. They say, hey, you if you help them out, the United States, we will, we'll lower our taxes on such and such. Now we're already sort of doing that. I mean, that's how the world economy works right now.
Yeah.
But,
So it's almost like an international credit system.
right, but something that would need to be regulated by a neutral network such as the UN, where it's overseen. It's not behind closed doors bidding. It's or trading. It's out in the open. This is. If you guys are willing to help them out, we're willing to help you out this way.
So it's flat floored equivalent exchange.
But still
almost
make a
wouldn't
baseline that they have to help.
You almost wouldn't want a government running it. You'd almost want like an AI system running it.
If only.
Well, yeah.
I'll tell you, it's the
So
Terminator.
that way there's
Turn it on, lock the door. Nobody goes in there.
It's one server. Nobody can get access to it.
Yeah.
It's one guy. It's one guy that just controls the cybersecurity of it.
Nope.
But then that causes an issue with favoritism as well.
No human interaction.
No. He just controls the security of this. Like
We're the
cybersecurity
unknown
of it.
variable.
He's
Because what are the odds of like some greasy dude like, hey, make sure there's a back door? No,
make
I
it
won't
Edward
do that.
Snowden. Make it Edward Snowden.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like that guy.
Make it
Okay,
Edward
this is
Snowden.
gonna be a little fucking something. I think he's he's an amazing person. I do. I think he's phenomenal.
I don't care what
people.
I know.
You can argue with me. I'm happy to argue.
But I don't care.
I think about that.
I think he has the people's interest at heart.
Absolutely.
The way that he did it though could have caused some issues.
Yeah. Could have caused some serious
but
fucking
to be fair,
issues.
there's not a good way to do it without getting assassinated.
Yep.
And he
that.
also
That's the problem with whistleblowing.
Also,
Yep.
the other problem is, could he have gone about it differently? Maybe.
Yeah.
Did he put people at risk?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yes. But did he put them as much risk as was portrayed? No.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Because I remember when that broadcast went out. I remember
He was helping the people. And
when when his
cheers
face
to that
showed up
man.
on the fucking TV. Because I was watching the news with my mom. I remember when that fucking broadcast went out that he became what do they call him? It was like America's something fugitive. I don't know. It was like a really weird term that I didn't quite understand, you know, because that was like when he jumped ship.
Right.
And I remembered hearing that and thinking like, why? Like, why? What did this guy do?
Because you did some shady shit that you didn't want us to know about.
Yeah.
Because,
and then
because
you're
think
painted,
of how powerful the NSA could have been without us finding out. And it didn't even really affect them that much when we did find out.
Yeah.
Then we just went, oh, yeah. So remember those jokes we made about them recording us through our TVs? Oh, it wasn't a joke. Okay, cool. I'm still going to make jokes about it. We didn't even fucking change anything about it. So what do you care? So we know we're not fucking changing anything.
Right.
Yeah. Like the best part about that is like even now, still to this day, after, you know, X amount of years, we still joke about that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like the simple fact that like just talking about this, I guarantee there's going to be an ad shift on my Facebook.
Oh, 100%.
Or, you know, like we joke about like, I've said really fucked up shit, but like even the idea of like an FBI agent, like
watching
the FBI agent in my phone.
I still make
like,
jokes about that
He's seen
shit.
some fucked up shit. And I have directly, because of that, like realizing, okay, like that could be legit. Like I have said shit to my phone. Like, hey dude, like, I'm sorry, you're going to see some weird shit.
It's almost like subconscious security. Cause now like, imagine like the weird shit you used to look up like when you were a kid. Like, you'd go like in an incognito browser and be like, I want to know how people do weird shit, but I don't want people to know that I'm searching this. Or something.
Dude, well
guess what? FBI fucking knows.
Dude.
Subconsciously, you don't search that shit anymore because you're like, I don't want to be weird.
Yeah.
Because somebody knows.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody
So
knows.
It's on the internet. It is ever existent.
For having this system for unlimited information, we limit ourselves a lot.
Oh yeah, we censor ourselves knowing that it could get out
subconsciously because we know that somebody else is going to find out exactly what we're we're thinking.
Exactly.
So
you know, and that was one of those things. Like a buddy of mine, Zach, he a while back when I was living in the previous apartment that I was in, him and I were talking, and he mentioned a book. You wanted to buy this book, and I was like, okay, you know, we were talking back and forth, and I'd read said book, and I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna get flagged right away.
God, I think I know what you're talking about.
But he ordered it.
Oh.
He went online and ordered this book, had it shipped to our address, and I'm like, dude, there's like 6 people in this fucking house. Like, you know that you just did something bad. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, bro, you just red flagged our fucking house. Like,
wait, where did he buy the book from though?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's the issue. Because
that is the issue.
Was it listed on Amazon or something? Or
I don't think they'd sell it on Amazon.
But I don't think I know the book, and I'm interested.
You probably. Yeah, we'll tell you.
Yeah, when this is done, I'll tell you. Because I just don't want to say it.
Oh, of course.
No.
But like,
don't. Wait, I'm gonna type it out.
We want to say controversial shit on this show, but not red flag.
Not really bad.
I like traveling, so I don't want to fucking
get it stopped at TSA. And
sir,
do you want to?
I love America. I love.
But it was
freedom.
It was so funny because like with that reality in place that we have this constant security, this constant, you know, all-empowering Big Brother, like, you forget. It's so easy to forget in your day-to-day. Yes.
Okay.
So.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, I do know that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
He ordered that and sent it to the house.
Don't save. Don't save.
So.
Have you been on a plane since then?
Right, but like, that was one of those things, like, you forget so easily that there is that constant vigilance.
Somebody's looking, somebody's watching, yeah.
And he did the one thing that you shouldn't do. Like, you shouldn't. That was like, that's like, you have one of 3 things that probably is going to get you red flagged.
And that's
you
definitely
picked
one of them.
fucking C, dude. Like, you picked
that's
C.
definitely one of
D,
them.
all the above.
Yeah, exactly. But it was goofy as fuck because, like, those things happen all the time. All the time. And we joke about it. And we think it's fucking, it is funny. I mean, like, I
Well,
really
to a certain
hope.
degree, but then like you look at it from a broader spectrum, and it's like, oh man, like everything that I've ever thought or wanted to get more information on, somebody knows that I'm looking this up.
Yep.
Oh,
And so
absolutely.
they have
Somebody knows.
they have my mental profile to see how I think, why I'm searching it, where I am, who I am.
You are now in a
why
category.
Data mining has now surpassed, or in 2017 surpassed oil as the most lucrative business.
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
the most money producing business.
Yeah.
And you want to know what they
just
do
as
with
an
all that
asset,
information?
dude, like,
With all that information that they have about you, about how your mind works, they use it for advertising.
they use it for advertising, dude. Yeah.
Yep.
And what, like,
They
I don't
have
know.
5,000 data points on every single person on the internet.
Yep.
5,000 data points at a minimum of every single person on the internet.
But the question is, what do you do with that much information? Like,
Show me ads
other
for Wish
than
for
ads.
handcuffs.
Other than ads, what else do you do with it? Like,
Because it won't go away.
You hack the American polling system or democratic elections, and that's exactly what you do. There's actually an entire documentary
yeah, I know.
on certain elections that have been. Yeah. So if you think that you're voting by choice, you're not. Like, there's things. It's like the new age version of
Ballot swapping.
no,
Because that is a thing.
no. What do they fucking call
I love that truck that showed up with 700,000 ballots.
Okay, no, that's a different
Awesome.
topic.
That
That's
was
a different
great.
topic.
Totally
No,
different topic.
Different topic.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Jesus Christ, subliminal messaging.
Yep.
They're using it for subliminal messaging to persuade you in certain ways.
Yeah.
And to strengthen your beliefs, supposedly that you believe.
Yeah.
It's
That's
very
kind of what
interesting.
Google's kind of turned into. Like,
Yeah.
not gonna
Well,
lie. Like,
what's
That's
super
what the
funny,
internet's turned into.
yeah. Well, Google especially though, because imagine all the stuff like on your phones or computers that you have logged in through your Gmail account.
Yeah.
Your entire Gmail account is just so that way they can match your keywords that you send in emails and texts with search
Google
results for
search.
ads.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the perfect system for generating ad
Absolutely.
revenue.
Yeah.
But
And I've got that shit attached to everything.
Yeah, me too. It's perfect.
I'm gonna strictly use the internet for porn now. From now
Well,
on.
see, what's super funny is like the gore porn.
No, I said for porn.
Oh, for porn.
Jesus,
You
gore
said
porn.
gore porn. I was like,
Jesus,
fucking A, dude.
Jesus Christ, what are you looking
I'm
up?
really repressed. So.
really repressed. Your FBI agent
Yeah.
Is
is
knocking at your fucking door
He's
right
having
now.
a field day
piece of
today.
shit. But
Make
no,
me watch
like,
him again.
But the one thing that I thought was hilarious, like in that regard of like it being specifically niche and then them trying to adjust that perspective that you have internally already that they think that you have based on those categories that you pop up as.
Yeah.
Like I was on YouTube the other day and that advertisement that we joked about over the weekend about the fucking like this borderline racist advertisement that was put out, and I'm on YouTube watching the Smite Pro League and they fucking drop an advertisement about this fucking thing. I'm like, why is this on here?
Wait,
like,
can you share what the ad was? I'm kind of curious.
I don't want to.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to give him any power.
Yeah. So like it was really specific and it was borderline racist and it got that conversation going where it was like you see transparency on both sides because of that real minuscule adjustments that they make to pull for specific demographics.
Yeah, it's fucked.
And it is super fucked, but I thought that was hilarious and I was so confused as to why I'm watching one of the geekiest MOBA-based
And this
tournaments,
fucking
and this
commercial comes
fucking advertisement comes up, and I'm like, why skip? Like, I'm just hammering the skip button,
Yeah.
and it's like, dude, get this shit out of here. Like, go send it somewhere else, dude. Like, this clearly isn't where you should be sending this information.
Right.
I don't need this.
Yeah,
like, get it
it's
out of my
weird.
fucking TV.
Gross.
On my YouTube, that's also attached to my fucking phone.
See, the thing is, all right, I know that they have like YouTube Red or whatever, and
Yeah.
like all that stuff. Why don't
Like
they
a
have,
membership.
Why don't they have like a Google Pro where they're just like, hey, for all your internet browsing and shit like that, pay us $5 a month. We won't show you any ads.
I will give
For
them
any of your Google
$500
stuff.
if they just leave me the fuck
No,
alone.
You know how much money they make off of per person?
Oh,
they
dude.
make off of it?
Yeah, but imagine if they could make that up by having everybody pay them a subscription to not show them those ads, and then
Yeah,
they're
but-
still generating
Like a
revenue
premium?
for
They're
everybody
making
that's not paying
so
that.
much money per person a
Yeah.
year
Well, how-
that even if you put it at $5 a month.
Yeah.
I mean,
wanna
think
look up-
about Google selling information.
Oh,
That's,
dude.
It's got to be 75% of their business.
Yeah.
Easily is selling people's data points. So
Yeah.
they're making trillions upon trillions of dollars a year off of that. You know,
Yeah.
a $5 a month, a Netflix subscription is not gonna surpass that.
I'm looking
Yeah.
this up as to how much they make per person.
Ah, fuck.
Well, it's a $1 trillion business or $1 trillion
Market.
market basically at this
Yeah.
point. So
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
the fact that
That-
it surpasses oil,
Yeah.
that's
That
making a
in-
lot
dude,
of fucking
information
money
is
per
power.
person. Yeah.
Information is
They make
power.
about $10 a person per year.
Jesus
Per
fucking
year?
Christ.
Yeah.
What's our total population right now?
6 billion?
It's a little bit.
It's
over.
it's close. I think it's over 7 billion now.
7
Yeah.
billion
yeah.
now, yeah.
Yeah,
But
we
so they-
just can't stop fucking.
So they make $10 a person per year, like across the world.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah! Like,
It's a lot of money.
hey, you pay us less than $1 a month,
Yeah,
and
that's
you get
true.
0 ads. Fuck yeah, I'd do that.
That's true.
I'd
Yeah.
pay them $20 a month just to not show me ads.
Yeah, honestly,
Fuck
dude.
it. Double your revenue, Google.
Yeah, I will give
Get
you
your
money
shit
to
together.
just not
give you
listen
that.
to me. Stop checking my fucking search engine.
But then they would lose out on. Well, I guess
I don't
yeah,
know.
they lose on my Kino porn choices.
they would lose. They would have to lower the price of how much they're charging for each ad that they show.
yeah,
But they'd make up for it twofold as to how many people would pay just to not be shown ads anymore.
yeah, that's true.
You know.
Yeah.
It is. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what they can mock up
I
for
think
that.
there's an amount of money there that's not being represented,
If-
though, is the problem.
Yeah.
If I have if I can pay $100 a year for free shipping through Amazon or whatever the fuck amount
Yeah.
it costs,
I think it's
whatever.
$99 a month.
Yeah, something
or
like
a
that.
year now.
If I can pay that for just free shipping, fuck yeah, I'm gonna pay $50, $60, $70, whatever.
If it
a
truly
year.
is $10
Truly,
per person,
yeah.
and not backdoor findings of,
Yeah.
hey, this is how much.
Yeah,
we'll sell
that
it to
seems
you
a little
for.
low, but it's like at the same time that's
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
there's a lot of people on
billions.
Google.
That's
No,
It's
most
an international company, so
trillions upon trillions of dollars. So
I just absolutely hate how many spam callers I get on a daily basis.
I know it's so rough. It's so brutal.
And I'm really nice. I am super fucking
I'm
nice.
not.
Like, what's nice now is
I
it
just don't
says
answer.
potential spam, and I just don't pick it up.
Yeah.
yeah.
But because it doesn't even take them.
No,
to
now they're
my,
using your area code to try and get you. Oh, your car's warranty. Fuck you. I don't even have a warranty anymore.
suck a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they make about they have about 1.3 billion users, so that's about right.
Yeah.
So
10 point some or just over $12 billion
yeah,
annually
Mm-hmm.
from just user data points selling.
13 billion, 13.1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Sounds about right.
Information is
bad.
power, man.
It's interesting, but all right. Should we just overlay this into? Because I got a couple other questions too.
yeah,
for you guys.
yeah, we'll
So
just throw it in.
overlay that into YouTube and
Sure.
the YouTube live
Into the
version.
live. Let's
Cool.
do it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of What We Learned This Week. Hopefully, this week was a little more intuitive than last week's episode because we didn't have
Yeah.
much going for us. So yeah, I think this Skillshare thing is going to be a lot of fun for us to try.
Yeah, I'm excited to give that a shot.
It'll be a way for us to prove to you guys that we're finally doing the skills. And it keeps us. I think it holds us accountable as well because
Yeah.
we can actually see on the dashboard how far we've completed into it and everything
yeah.
too. So yeah, that'll be really fun. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/WWLTW podcast. For all of you that have joined recently and joined throughout, those of you that have been here since the beginning, we appreciate the fuck out of you.
Love you
As
guys.
always, you guys are amazing. We just surpassed, I believe, I have to look again. We're either just short or just surpassed our second goal on Patreon.
Wow.
So that's huge. We're a year
Yeah.
in and we've already surpassed 2 goals basically. So yeah, go ahead and join us on there. You get free shit out of us. You get episodes early. You get our What We Watched This Week episodes,
Which are
which are
goddamn
fucking
gold.
amazing.
Yep.
You get invited to our super secret Facebook page. If you join at certain tiers, you get merchandise out of us and shit. And if you join the highest tier, you get to pick a topic for the episode. So what up with that?
Wow.
Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Subscribe. I'm going to say it 1,000,000 times over because #road to 1K. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your enemies. We don't care.
Show your kids. Show your wife.
Because we out here subscribing to everybody. So yeah, make sure to go check that out. Like us on Facebook as well. We do Facebook Lives every Thursday.
Yes.
What else? What else do I need to? Oh, Astro Design Company.
Yeah. So go ahead and check out astrodesigncompany.com. That's my web design company. Feel free to send us a message, and we'll chat about what we can do for your website.
Tell them you what we learned this week sent you.
Yeah, do it. We'll get you a little bit on.
We got you, boo. We know a guy. Other than that, guys.
I know the owner. So, yeah.
Other than that, I got nothing else for you this week. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's it.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys very much,
guys.
and we'll see you next week. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You are feeling, huh?